Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the second lesson, the role of chemistry in our lives. Chemistry is intimately involved with the life processes of every living beings. So chemistry is involved in the life processes of all living beings, the growth which takes place in living beings, and the aging of plants and animals are due to the chemical changes occurring in them all the time. So, the growth, and as the person grows, the aging takes place, or the animals as they grow, the aging takes place. All is due to the chemical changes which are occurring all the time in the living organisms. And apart from this, chemistry helps us in many other ways. And one is chemistry and food. For food, we have to depend on agriculture to a large extent, and chemistry helps us produce more crops. So, for food, we depend upon agriculture, and chemistry helps us to produce more of the crops in the agriculture. Fertilizers. Plants, they require adequate amount of few elements like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and zinc for proper growth. So plants, they require adequate amount of the elements like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, zinc for their growth. And these elements are naturally present in the soil. But they get depleted, means their amount gets decreased after the crops are grown for some years on the same area. Because when crops are grown on the same piece of land again and again, those elements are taken up by those crops, and as a result, those elements start decreasing in the soil. And then we have to use organic or you can say chemical fertilizers to make up for the loss in the amount of elements. And because though the amount of those elements keeps on decreasing when we grow crops on the same piece of land again and again, so those chemicals are replenished by the chemical fertilizers. And organic manure is generally obtained from dung. Organic manure is obtained from the cow dung or the buffalo's dung, but chemical fertilizers are prepared by industrial methods. And some commonly used fertilizers have been mentioned here. So here we have two tables, and in this table they have mentioned the elements which are required by the plants for their growth, like nitrogen, and the fertilizer which contains nitrogen in it is urea. Phosphorus, fertilizer is superphosphate of lime, triple phosphate of lime. Nitrogen and phosphorus, diammonium phosphate. And potassium, fertilizer is potassium chloride. And zinc, fertilizer made is zinc sulfate or zinc oxide. So these are the fertilizers, chemical fertilizers which are used in the agricultural fields. Then soil testing. How we come to know that which element a particular soil is deficient in. Deficient means is having less of the element. Which soil means the soil is deficient in which element. This can be found out by analysis. The soil is analyzed in the chemical laboratory called the soil testing laboratory. Then pesticides. Insects and small animals that harm crops and other plants we grow are called pests. Insects and rodents are all pests. So these insects and small animals which harm the crops which we grow are called pests. and these insects and rodents are all pests. We use insecticides and rodenticides to kill them. So we use chemical substances called insecticides and rodenticides to kill them. And besides these, we even use fungicides and herbicides or weedicides. Fungicides are used to kill the fungi that cause plant diseases, and herbicides or weedicides to kill unwanted plants or weeds. And as we grow, as a group, they are called pesticides. They are all synthesized chemically, or they are all synthesized chemicals, and some of them are mentioned here. Here they have given certain insecticides and all. Insecticides: DDT, endosulfan, eldrin, malathion, and carbide. Then fungicides: thyrum, bordex mixture. Herbicides is benzopyrene, sulfonylurea, and butachlor. Rodenticide: aluminium phosphide. So these are certain chemicals which are used as insecticides, fungicides, herbicides, and rodenticides. Remember that pesticides are harmful to human beings and animals, so they must be used judiciously. Judiciously means in very less amount that is required, not extra. So this much for today.